Hi, beauties and babes. Happy Wind Down Wednesday. I'm your host, Lonnie Noel, and this is Beauty Tutorials Unveiled. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're new here, I always like to give a breakdown of how the show works. This show is an opportunity to get a closer look of all your favorite tutorials in depth and to be able to chat live with, the blogger or whosoever is mastering whatever skill. Today, we are keeping the train rolling with skincare. If you guys watched last week's episode, we did skincare with Sarai Naturals, and we are back again today with a special episode for our men because skincare does not discriminate. It is for men and women and everyone alike. Especially for the summer, we want to make sure our skin is glowing and popping. So today we have Ron Baker joining us. Ron, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be
Of,
here.
of course, of course. Thank you so much. So yeah,
Can, can we do a
let the
roll
people
call?
know.
Wind down. Can we?
Yes, sure, of course. Why not?
All right, roll.
Cheers.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. You're the first guest that did that. Set the tone. Set the
Yeah, we got to.
So yeah, let the people know who you are, what you have going on.
So yeah, my name is Ron Baker. I'm a singer-songwriter, dancer, choreographer, actor, entrepreneur. I kind of do it all. I'm glad. I'm so thankful to be here. I'm just really getting on my skincare journey. I've been looking for products that will help me with my acne. I've been looking for so long, been trying so many different things, and I'm just now getting to a product that I feel like is working for me. But I'm also being more consistent in my routine. So I wanted to share that with people and with other men, so that way they can also take care of their skin, take care of their health, take care of their hair, and not be taboo.
For sure, definitely. That's awesome. So yeah, whenever you're ready, we can just jump right in. I know we have a clip to roll, and we can jump right into, your routine.
Definitely. So, with my routine, right? So, what you'll see in the video is a product that I am ambassadoring for, and it is a men and women's skincare line, hair care line, and wellness line. Um, but what you'll see in the video is kind of like a more in-depth routine. So, I always will start off with a cleanser. Always get you a good cleanser, and depending on which kind of skin type you have, whether it's oily or dry, you'll need to know which kind of cleanser, whether it's a foamy cleanser or a creamy cleanser. And then always cleanse twice. That's something that I've learned too. Always cleanse twice, because the first time you cleanse is just getting that first layer of dirt off, and then you want to do the second time to really get in there. And if you really, really want to do it really good, I would always start with like a hot towel on the face to like really open up those pores, right? So after you do your cleanser, I would say go into your exfoliant, right? We need a good exfoliant for our skin to really bring up those dead skin cells and really get in what's going on underneath, right? And the exfoliant really helps for like if you have ingrown hairs or I struggle with like acne along my jawline in between my hairs and stuff like that. So that's a problem area for me. So a good exfoliant is really, really essential, right? After that, you want to go into a toner, right? The toner is what's going to prepare your skin for everything else that it's going to receive, all the nutrients that you're going to receive from your moisturizing that you're putting on, right? So a good toner is definitely essential, right? After your toner, if you want to go that extra step, a good serum, right? A serum or an oil is something that'll definitely help your skin glow and be bright and shine and make you feel good, right? Because when you look good, you feel good. And that's really what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have blemishes and things that's on your face, pimples and stuff like that, it makes you insecure. Whether you want to admit it or not, it makes everybody a little bit insecure about you know what I mean, how they are presented into the world, you know, because of that, right? And I struggle with like having like consistent, like I can have a good day and then boom, something else will pop up. Like it's never like all the way I could just be good all the time, right? So um after that, oil or a serum, a good moisturizer, right? I like this brand's moisturizer because it's a lightweight and it's unscented. So it really helps with like breakouts. I don't break out because of this you know, smell or chemical, whatever that's inside of this product, right? So this is, and these are all vegan products on top of that. These are all vegan, um, tested products. And when I apply my moisturizer, I always want to push it up, push everything back, right? Because we want to keep that skin tight and you know, making sure we're not aging and stuff like that, right? So we want to push that stuff back, right? After that, something I've learned that I never knew before is that we need SPF. As Black people, we need SPF just as much as everybody else. And that's something that I'm just learning, right? When you're not using SPF, that's what causes like the hyperpigmentation and the dark spots in the skin and stuff like that. So a good SPF is also very essential, right? Now, this is like for the man that wants to like really take care of his skin, right? All the way. And I recommend this for like artists, actors, people who are entertainers. Don't be afraid of taking care of your skin and looking presentable because this is your moneymaker. You know what I'm saying? Now, for the average man who may not be into doing all of these steps, right? A cleanser, an exfoliant, and a moisturizer will get the job done for you, right? For people who don't have much time to be sitting there doing all these extra steps for their skin, right? Those three things, plus for everybody, water and rest. Those are two very important things that we need for keeping up, you know what I mean, with our skin and our health and our hair and everything. Water, staying hydrated. When you're not hydrated, you'll start to see that in your skin and wrinkles and dryness in your skin and stuff like that. So those are two very important things. And right now we're in a heat wave already. So stay hydrated with some water. If you ain't got no water, wind down with some wine like we are. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that will do you the job. You know, men, don't be afraid of taking care of your skin and looking good, right? Especially if you're an artist and entertainer or if you're just a regular guy, there's nothing wrong with self-care, right? And making sure we feel good because when we look good, we feel good.
For sure, definitely. Absolutely. Awesome. That was a great breakdown and so important. So guys, make sure you tune in and jot these tips down because they're important. And I know a lot of y'all not doing it. I'm not judging, but I'm just saying I've asked. I've had to put some clothes on. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
tune in and don't be scared. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong. Like Ron said, there's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself is attractive. Ladies love men who take care of themselves. Men love men who take care of themselves. We all just love men who take care of themselves. So definitely take care of yourself, and skin is definitely one of them. And so while we're here on the face, you know what I mean. Like I asked you before, like, is there anything you do with your beard? Like, are you just mixing those products in? Are you washing your beard with the same cleanser that you're washing your face with, and then are you moisturizing it afterwards, or is there something that you do a little different?
Yeah, so I get my moisturizer all into my face, all into my beard. And then I just use like the same oil that I'll use for my skin. What we use with the products I'm using is called a Rejuvenique oil, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the oil all of the products work. A little bit of that also into your hair, into your beard, helps it grow. I've been trying to like get my beard to grow because I don't got the big old Rick Ross beard, you know what I'm saying? That big manly beard. I've been trying to get that, but I've been seeing significant growth in this oil that I'm using. So like even just that, taking care of what you got, keeping it moisturized, comb it out, you know what I mean? That's what I would recommend. That's what I do.
Awesome, awesome, definitely. Very cool. Are you into mask at all? Like face mask?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely into a good face mask. I definitely will put that on late night and do just like this real quick. Have some wine, sit back, puff a little. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely into mask. I got some like 24 karat gold masks. I love the
Okay, fancy.
I try to be. Uh, I love the charcoal masks. Those are really, really good. Um, and I'm always looking to try different kinds.
Awesome.
So, put me on.
Super cool. So we have a question from Nikita. Is there anything men need to do extra to preserve their skin if they are constantly shaving their facial hair?
So that would go back to the exfoliant, right? You don't have to shave your hair, shave your beard, like when it's like on the stubble. You know what I mean? You want to soften that up. So a good exfoliant will soften that up. So that way when you're shaving, you're not damaging your skin. You know what I mean? And then that moisturizer, putting that moisture back into your face, into your skin, into your body is definitely going to help you out. So that's what I would do.
Awesome. Very good tip. Um, you gave a really good tip about like the way you put on your moisturizer, like putting it, putting on an upward motion. Um, you learn a lot about that from like Koreans are like
Yeah.
up here with the skincare and like little things that you don't know. They be like beating on their face, all types of crazy stuff. But it's
Yeah.
just like if you see a Korean, like they all look really like youthful in their, in their face. So they definitely know what they're doing. And that's definitely like a Korean tip I had learned, like in terms of like, just pushing your face upward. So that was an
Mm-hmm.
awesome tip. We didn't even get that far last week. So that's awesome. So ladies, definitely, push upward. So you're
Yep.
tightening things
Circle
up,
motion up, tighten it up, keep it looking good for a long time.
for sure. And then I know, so like we all wanted to know, like Pharrell and like Naomi Campbell. I
The
remember seeing an
fountain,
interview,
right?
The Fountain of Youth. I remember seeing an interview with them, and they both said the same thing. Like they use like ice water, like at the end of their skincare routine, and they just like put the ice water on their face. And it's just like, I mean, all right, I guess
I mean, we're
we
gonna
can
try.
accept
I
it.
tried it.
You
Have you
know,
tried?
I tried it one time, and I was just like, you know what, I don't got time for this. but I'm willing. I'm willing to try it again because if they said it, they meant it, and I believe them. I believe them both because they're both definitely the fountain of youth. Like I look
Oh,
back at pictures of them both, and I'm just like, wow, look at them.
mm-hmm.
Awesome. There's so many things when it comes to skincare. You mentioned another really important thing. The whole SPF, like that is so important.
Yes, and like I
I
said, I
know.
just learned.
Yeah, because like you said, like we as black and brown folks, we think like, oh, we're good, like we're meant for the sun, and it's just like no. I remember when I went to my dermatologist, they were making it very clear, like whatever, like you said, whatever hyperpigmentation or any lightening spots that you have on your face, it's like it's from sun damage. And I was just like, oh wow,
Yeah,
especially when
because
it comes to like,
I thought that doesn't happen to us, but
mm-hmm,
yeah, and when you know better, you do better. We're learning more about how to like properly take care of ourselves. So
definitely, definitely.
glad we have that knowledge now.
Yes, for sure. So everybody use your sunscreen, especially now. Like we are definitely in a heat wave. It has been so hot. The
Woo!
sun has been beaming. So use your sunscreen all over because skincare is it's a full body thing. Like you know what I mean? You need to be making sure that you're good completely. So yeah. Well, we're pretty much in our wind down segment. Thank you so much for breaking everything down. So
Thank
is
you
there
for.
anything? Yes, of course. So, in that video, we know that you used a particular spray. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so this right here, this is the coolest spray right here. This is a brand of my own, partnered with Shein Dolls Boutique. And this is an all natural lock moisturizing spray. We also have an oil that is paired with it that are packed with all types of nutrients and natural oils. Um, that are, just designed specifically for, coarse hair, locks, braids, you know what I mean? To keep that hydration in our hair, especially during the summertime right now. Well, it's not even the summertime when we're in a heat wave, but approaching into the summertime, the drier it gets right now, you really want to protect your locks, and keep that moisture in there, as much as possible in these dry days, and especially with, water too, drinking that water. But this lock hair spray and oil was something that I wanted to create because people often ask me, like, what do I use in my hair? And I often tell people I don't really use too much product. You know what I mean? Just get you a good oil, and use that every now and then. And that's all I do. I don't use a lot of products into my hair. So this right here was something that I wanted to put out there so that way other people with locks, other lock heads, other dreadlocks, can have something that they can use, that also smells good. It feels good. That's why I wanted to call it Cool It Spray. So it literally wanted to give you a cooling sensation when you spray it onto your hair. And you can just spray that real quick in the morning and just go about your day,
Awesome. Super cool. So yeah, anybody with locks, make sure you guys tap in. And let people know where they can get it, where they can find this product.
So right now you can get it at Shandall's Boutique in Springfield, Massachusetts. I'm also developing the website, so the website is going to be out there very soon, so you can purchase online. But if anybody that's interested, you can always hit me via DM, Instagram, or Twitter, and just inquire about the product, and then we can go from there.
Awesome, super cool. That is great. Very important. I know you mentioned like being a minimalist when it comes to like hair care, because that's important too, because you don't want to create like a super big product buildup. So
absolutely,
it's super cool to find something that just works. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to create that too much buildup in our hair. You know what I mean? We already have a stigma with like, people who dress, they don't wash their hair, but people actually do take very, very good, care of their hair and their dreadlocks.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised at the amount of work that goes into taking care of your locks. It's a lot more than people think.
So, yeah, for sure. I can only imagine. And your locks look great. Your locks always look great. We're all loving the new color. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I know a lot of care comes with, once you dye your hair, it comes with a lot more care too. So I'm sure you're like, keeping it.
Yeah, this is the journey, because I told myself I would never dye my entire head any color. Yeah, and I just woke up one day and said, let's just do something different. Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah. I love it. Well, yeah. So is there anything that you have coming up that you want to let the people know about? Like anything that we should be expecting from you in the near future? I know you always have something going on.
I try to. Just more music. I'm in the studio right now recording new music. I actually have a project that's gearing up to come out, Red Moscato 2. It's a joint project with me and my brother LP. Part 2 to something else that we did before. Very funky, very old school, very classic sound. I still sell Big Homie joints for my smokers out there. We sell our own papers. If anybody's interested in that, and just getting back out there again. COVID put a lot of stop into like how we are out there visibly in the world. Everything became very virtual. So now that things are getting to open back up, new music coming out, more videos. Right now I'm currently doing some auditions, trying to get back out there into the acting world. So hopefully some things that will come through soon. You'll see me on your screen soon. So hopefully.
Oh, for sure. Of course. Yes, definitely. I love that about you. You're always putting yourself out there and trying something new and just like, chasing your dreams. Our city, like there's so much hidden talent. Like everybody's so like there's so much talent here. So you're definitely one of the people I think of from, when people are just putting themselves out there and, chasing their dreams. It's not easy. So, and you're definitely inspiring many. So, we appreciate it. And thank you again so much. Oh, thank you. And then thank you again so much for joining us. Like I always say, time flies when we're having fun.
Yes.
So you blink and it's over, but this is a great episode. Thank you so much. And, just let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me. You can find all my music at Ron Baker on all streaming platforms. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Big Homie Bake, BigHomiebaked. Yeah, you'll find me either way. Type in Ron Baker. I'm there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So yes, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys learned a lot. I sure did. I got some tips that I'll be giving my shorties on the line. But no, for real. Skincare so skincare is so important. So yeah, if you guys didn't get a chance to tune in, you can always play it back and watch it from the beginning. And yeah, happy Wind Down Wednesday. Yay!
Can I talk to you? Have you ever asked yourself, do I really love my job? Because if you have, let me let you in on something. You're not the only one. Here are a few signs that you might not love your job. You dread going to work. You complain about the pay. The excitement for the job is left, and you find yourself sitting at brunch on Sunday with your mimosa, tapping your feet singing the Monday blues. Boom! It may be time for you to move on to something else, whether it be starting a business, finding a rich husband, or finding another job. Whatever it may be, make sure you're making yourself happy and getting those bills paid. And keep rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Y'all be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter for more advice and tips. See y'all later.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Today we're going to talk about the importance of establishing an emergency fund. Now look, I know and I understand that sometimes there's just too much a month and not enough money and we can't really establish an emergency fund, but statistically, 8 out of 10 adults do not have enough money to cover a $500 emergency saved up in a savings account. Now, how do we establish an emergency fund? First, we have to understand what our purpose is and why we're establishing this fund. Why should we establish an emergency fund? Because God forbid, if I have a $900 emergency come up, I don't want to have to go to the bank to take out a $900 loan. I don't want to have to go swipe a credit card for another $900 to put myself further in debt. I need to have an emergency fund established of 3 months to 6 months, okay? That will, if I lose my job, if something comes up, I have at least 3 months to 6 months of income. Ideally, if we could get 9 to 12 months saved up in an emergency fund, then you know come hell or high water that financially you will be okay if something establishes, if something comes up. Now, the purpose of it is that when an emergency comes up, my fund is already established. Guess what? It's no longer an emergency. We've already planned for this. And when we plan for things, we can execute the plan. We don't plan to fail, we just fail to plan. So understanding that, putting together a plan, having a fully funded emergency fund, and if you're just starting out, start with $1,000 and then build on it from there. So, this is Marcus Whitfield, and remember, knowledge isn't power, but applied knowledge is power.
What got me is like there and was like, "It's a rat in here. It's you." The accent, but you know what? I know people like that in real life.
What's the word with K Hicks?
We've got trivia, special guests, and whiskey.
Pour a glass of whatever you're drinking and buckle up.
What's the word?
What's the word with K Hicks? Watch live on YouTube, Wednesdays, 9:30, 8:30 Central on Channel 7. Believe the hype.
It's a strong indication that your partner has issues with commitment, period.
When you've got questions, she's got the answers.
We do have a caller.
But what she says might not be what you want to hear.
The solution to that is Gullah Jack. Gullah Jack tells you plain and simply to just nut the up.
Queenie Unfiltered. Watch live on YouTube and you could be invited on the show. Wednesdays at 10/9 Central on Channel 7. Believe the hype.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Can I talk to you, have you ever asked yourself, do I really love my job? Because if you have, let me let you in on something. You're not the only one. Here are a few signs that you might not love your job. You dread going to work. You complain about the pay. The excitement for the job is left, and you find yourself sitting at brunch on Sunday with your mimosa, tapping your feet, singing the Monday blues. Boom! It may be time for you to move on to something else, whether it be starting a business, finding a rich husband, or finding another job. Whatever it may be, make sure you're making yourself happy and getting those bills paid. And keep rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Y'all be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter for more advice and tips. See y'all later.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Today we're going to talk about the importance of establishing an emergency fund. Now look, I know and I understand that sometimes there's just too much a month and not enough money and we can't really establish an emergency fund, but statistically, 8 out of 10 adults do not have enough money to cover a $500 emergency saved up in a savings account. Now, how do we establish an emergency fund? First, we have to understand what our purpose is and why we're establishing this fund. Why should we establish an emergency fund? Because God forbid, if I have a $900 emergency come up, I don't want to have to go to the bank to take out a $900 loan. I don't want to have to go swipe a credit card for another $900 to put myself further in debt. I need to have an emergency fund established of 3 months to 6 months, okay? That will, if I lose my job, if something comes up, I have at least 3 months to 6 months of income. Ideally, if we could get 9 to 12 months saved up in an emergency fund, then you know come hell or high water that financially you will be okay if something comes up. Now, the purpose of it is that when an emergency comes up, my fund is already established. Guess what? It's no longer an emergency. We've already planned for this. And when we plan for things, we can execute the plan. We don't plan to fail, we just fail to plan. So understanding that, putting together a plan, having a fully funded emergency fund, and if you're just starting out, start with $1,000 and then build on it from there. So, this is Marcus Whitfield, and remember, knowledge isn't power, but applied knowledge is power.
We are on our episode 10. I have my girl Yana with me tonight. She has a ton of information to get to you guys. She is please tell them all the things that you do, because I do not want to mess it up.
So I am, I'll say I'm a wellness expert. I'm a yoga instructor that works primarily with corporations or businesses. And I have my own business, Ayana Private Yoga, to work with those businesses. And I'm also a VP of brand and marketing for a health and wellness company that I'm just getting started. So.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about that. So we're going to get into all that. But before we get into everything that you have going on, I want us to talk about some bizarre news tonight. So we're going to kick the show off with some bizarre news. So I looked up some bizarre news for yoga, and let me tell you, there are some very strange forms of yoga. I mean, you know, there's the regular naked yoga. You know, there's weed yoga. It's called ganja yoga. Like, you smoke while you're doing yoga. I would love to go do that. Let me start there. But the one that really enticed me was goat yoga. Have you ever heard of goat yoga?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You heard of it?
Yeah, it's a thing. Goat yoga. I have never been. I think I might have seen a picture, and it's just like goats in the room while people are doing yoga. Not my thing, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, they said sometimes they nibble your mat, climb on you, and give you a nuzzle, and that's all part of the therapy. Apparently goats are very loving. Don't goats spit at you? No, that's llamas.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put it past the goat.
So they ain't really all that cute and cuddly. They probably be in there spitting at people.
Yeah, like
you ain't doing it.
No, I'm definitely not going to a goat yoga class.
You don't even want to see what it be like?
No.
Nah.
I have done the ganja yoga. It's
okay.
fun if you ever want to try that. Yeah, it's good time. But the goat yoga, I'm not doing that.
Well, what about doga?
Yoga. I've never heard of that.
Yoga.
Oh, I would try it. I'm not gonna lie. You know, you see some people on Instagram doing yoga with their dogs. It's cute.
Yeah, that's what they said. They said people come with their dogs, and it's like a 2-part, you know, class. As far as like you come with your dog, so it's 2 of you. You come as like a couple. So then they do the yoga that way. So they give yoga to you and your dog. And then another one I heard of was tantrum yoga.
Tantrum.
Yeah. Now, so you know, I know Jewel, and she does laughter yoga. Right? So this is like the opposite of it. And it's like you go in there and you like scream and yell and you throw things as you do poses, and you take on the facade of your inner child.
Yeah, no.
No. You don't want to do it? You're not into it? It's not your thing?
See, some of these things, like, I really don't know how people, or the thought process behind it. And like, I get it, because yoga really brings out all these different emotions. The deeper that you get into it, you know, because it's you and your body. But some of these ideas, I'm like, I can't see myself, okay, I'm about to enter into this and do poses and throw a tantrum at the same time, because I'm trying to come to the mat to find like peace.
Yeah.
Like,
No, me too. I'm trying to go there to calm down. You know, you don't need me to do tantrum yoga. I'm already insane. So I won't be doing that either. I would have to pass on that. But with playing with the animals, like I saw one where like a pig comes and walks on your back. I'm not into pigs, but the goats I might fuck with, and the dogs I would definitely go to yoga with a dog I enjoyed.
A dog that you enjoy. What's a dog that you don't enjoy?
You know, like,
why would you go with a dog that you don't enjoy?
You know, because some dogs be acting out. Like, I'm not trying to be in there telling my dog to be quiet and relax. Like, please just, I want a dog that's gonna go in there and really do yoga, like, and not embarrass me in front of the class. That's just me though. And I don't, for some reason, I be around a lot of crazy dogs. So I just like trying to like shout out to Gizmo. I know Melquan's probably watching. Gizmo, I don't know how Gizmo was doing yoga. I don't know how Copper was doing yoga. Those are my friends' kids. I call them my nephews. Those are their dogs. So my nephews are a little crazy. I don't know how they would do yoga. But I might bring one of them for the thrill. For the thrill. But those are the bizarre news that I found on yoga. So now let's get into what's the word on the street. I want to know what's the word on the street with you. So I think my first question would be, you know, just what inspired you to get into yoga? Like, what made you say, this is what I want to spend my, well, maybe not spend your life. Maybe you don't want to do this your whole life. But, like, what made you want to get into it and go into it full time?
Yeah. So you were actually around when I started doing yoga a little bit. The first time that I did yoga was in college, like just as an event. But then once I started getting into my fitness journey, there was a time I went to the gym and I injured my back. So I went to the chiropractor, and the chiropractor suggested that I, do yoga to heal myself. And so I went. There was like a studio nearby our old apartment, so I would go over there, and the classes were free. They had like beginner classes where you didn't have to pay money. Or it was like donation based. And the first class, I didn't give a donation. I was just like, it's like, I'm gonna just get in here and see what it's about. Yeah. And I don't know. Next thing I knew, I was going frequently, and so much so that the instructor, I remember one time came up to me and she was like, you could try like the intermediate class. Like, you don't have to keep coming back to this beginner class. So I like took that as an indication, like, oh, I should, like explore, or like, I guess I'm getting like a little bit more advanced.
You're getting good at it. You're getting good at
it. So then I started doing that. But I really found that it gave me a sense of relief. Right. So there were two things going on with me. One, I was working in marketing and advertising, and it was a really hectic lifestyle at times.
Yes. I remember.
It's a lot of work that goes into it sometimes. You go out with a client and you're out till like 10 at night, trying to wine and dine them and stuff. And then on top of that, I was also still going through, or maybe becoming a little bit more aware of my grief, because my mom had passed away the year before. Mm-hmm. So yoga was actually helping me, I guess, to realize, or to get in touch with that part of my journey. But then it was also, changing my demeanor at work, or how I approach things.
I was going to say, can we talk about the discipline that changed? Yeah. Because that's what I was around for. And I was around when you said, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. And would I tell you that you would get up at 5 a.m.? And then it was like, we're in our early 20s at this point. So we're like, I'm drunk every night, like, just happy hour, living my best life. I was going to the gym, but sporadically, still how I still am, honestly. It's just, I'm just such a sporadic person. It's hard for me to be consistent, but I do try to work out every day. But, at the time, it was so foreign to me that you would get up at 5 a.m. And I remember just waking up because you would be coming in the house as I'm like finally getting up to get ready for work. And you're like ready for your day. You done got your workout in, your breakfast is packed. And I'm just like, I can barely see. Like, I cannot even believe that you did all of these things. And we lived on a hill. So you would like walk down. We used to live in Harlem for the listeners. And you would walk down and go to the gym every morning at 5 a.m. It didn't matter if it was like hail, sleet, snow, like that's what you did. And you were just and you like stopped drinking, you stopped eating crazy. Like it didn't matter if I made like some bomb ass food. You were like, nope, that's not part of my diet today. If you make this on Sunday, I'll eat it, but not today. Like I was just like, wow. And it was just so admirable. Like you will discipline yourself. So how does that tie into your yoga practice?
It definitely, well, I will say if you keep up with a consistent yoga practice, there's like a discipline that comes with that. And just going through a practice in general, you have to be compassionate towards yourself. Because some of the things are very intricate or a little bit complicated. And so it takes time to work yourself into a particular pose. But also with that, there's like discipline in knowing, okay, I may not actually be able to do this today. Right.
Yeah.
But if I keep practicing and having the mindset that you want to stay consistent with your practice in order to achieve or get to the next level, whatever that may be for you. So it is really all about discipline in a sense.
Yeah, I've always admired your discipline, and that is why I was like, okay, when you went into yoga, I was like, I see it because you are just so easily. Like, what's the last pose called? And you're like really supposed to like meditate and not think about anything. And
Shavasana.
Yes, and I was just like, that's you in a word, because you know how to literally like block out the rest of the world and just be like, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do, and none of you are going to bother me or distract me.
Oh, well, thank you.
So speaking of Shavasana, what is your favorite yoga pose?
I think my favorite yoga pose, it might be a tie. It's definitely a headstand is my favorite.
Wow.
But
I would fall.
Once you actually get the foundation of it, it's actually not that bad. So definitely a headstand. And then also there's a pigeon pose. Or
I like pigeon pose.
Yeah. Or king pigeon too. That's when you
What's
bring
the king pigeon?
That's when you're like you grab your foot and your arms so your arms go overhead and you grab your foot and bring it towards your head.
So it's like a full circle, but on your belly. Okay. I'm gonna try to pigeon pose tonight. The king pigeon.
You have to look it up.
I'm gonna tell my boo we finna do the king pigeon to go to bed. No, sir, I'm kidding. But that really does sound interesting. I'm not even being funny because I've done, like I do work out. I'm being funny, but I do work out. I'm way more consistent than I was in my early 20s. Like last year I started going crazy. Like I was going 6 days a week. I was like, and then just even like I'm an Aries, so I realized that us getting out that aggression and that sweat every day is just better for my mental health. So it's something that I do so that I'm a better person. And so some days though I don't feel like going all working out, so I'll do a little yoga routine, like, and I've even, please drop your handle, and letting people know, because you'll be doing these little 30-second reels that'll show you like morning yoga poses, and I'll be like, you know what, I'm just gonna do that today. And I don't got it in me to work out, but at least I'm gonna get my yoga in today. And so those are super helpful, especially your morning ones. I started to do those while I did like my morning affirmations, and the combo. It's the little combo. Nice. It sets your day off right.
Well, you know what? The funny thing about those, the first one I ever did was because it was like a couple months after I had turned 30. And I was joking with myself, like, this is crazy. I just turned 30, and like every time I get out of bed now, I'm feeling stiff. Or like, but it was also like, I think a combination of other things, you know, because last year we were in a lockdown and everything because of the pandemic. So then I was like, well, you know, I'm gonna do these moves. And then I was like, well, you know, I guess I'll record it and then put it on Instagram. Like, why not? I'm not doing anything else. And then I got like a really good response from it. So then I started thinking of other ideas of what people may want or need to do in the morning. So that just developed into or snowballed into like its own thing. But
yeah, now you are so do you do that often on TikTok? Like, do you, because it's very TikTok-y.
No, I don't even have a TikTok.
You don't?
Well, you know what? I'm lying a little bit because I created an account like 2 years ago, and I think I put like maybe 1 or 2 posts on there, but you know, now it's evolved into like TikTok for business and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where to start there. So,
well, I think if you were to get one and you were to do those, they might be successful because TikTok has a way different algorithm. I will say that. Like, what I've posted a TikTok on Instagram, and it hasn't gotten as much love. Now, mind you, my Instagram followers know me for the most part. The TikTok people will just like stuff or, you know, support it, and they don't even know you or follow you. So you'll have strangers. I had more likes on TikTok, and I was like, wow, I don't even have any followers, but I have more likes just because of the algorithms of TikTok. So I encourage you to explore it. You never know. We gotta get with the times because we are in our 30s. All these young kids love TikTok.
I think that's what's kind of blocking me too, because when I got on there, I was just like, this looks
it's
like
intimidating. It's
intimidating for a 16-year-old. Like, I think that's how adults may have felt when we were on MySpace or like the start of Facebook before, you know, grandma and grandpa got on there.
Definitely. So before we go, I do want to ask you, I want to get into the weekly watch list. What have you been watching? What kind of stuff do you watch? And maybe if you don't have time to watch TV, do you read? Do you listen to podcasts?
So lately I haven't been watching like recent shows. I'm starting to get into Queen of the South. I was put on by a couple of people, and I was like, you know what? Let me just start. It's on Netflix, so I'm on season 2. I was watching Snowfall, which I love that show. And also randomly I stumbled upon what is this? The Jersey Shore family vacation.
Oh,
thing.
okay. That we love a good guilty pleasure reality.
That's how I
TV
feel every
yeah.
time I tune in. I'm like, I don't know if I should be watching this, but
it's garbage. But you know what? Sometimes you just need a little bit of garbage. I feel you 100%. I have been reading. This book will teach you how to write better. This is what I've been reading. It's I'm actually almost done because it's thin. But there's a ton of information in there because I want to pick up new styles of writing. You know, I just like to write, but I just am always trying to pick up. I'm trying to get into grant writing and all this stuff. So I'm learning all these new things. Yeah, I'm learning all these new things because, you know, you're only the one, and I'm having the same experience. I just turned 30, and I feel like my bones is getting brittle, and it's time to do something new. So thank you for coming and joining me. Please tell everybody how to find you, how to join you, what you got going on. Tell us more about the marketing company you just joined.
Yeah, so so there's going to be more information on that. It's called Flowwell. It's going to be a platform for yoga instructors or wellness leaders to grow their business, acquire new business, and all that stuff. So just still in the working stages, but soon to come. And also, you can find me on Instagram right now. I am working on my website, but it's going to launch. I'm going through this whole rebranding phase. So my Instagram now is Ayana Knows Well. That's AYANA Knows Well, like knows wellness. So
yes, because you do. Well, thank you so much for coming. It was such a pleasure to have you. And you are my last guest of before summer break. So this is actually my last episode before I take a hiatus for the summer and rebrand myself and get myself together and travel. I'm going a few different places. So
Catch those flights.
Yes, we got to. We only live once, and now we're 30. You know what? I just can't stress it enough. Like, we don't have no time to waste. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you everybody for who has tuned into this season of What's the Word. It's been a blast. Let's do a toast. Let's do a toast. Grab your water. Let's do a toast.
This big water jug. This looks crazy.
Let's do a toast. And then we are going to say goodnight for the night. And you guys are going to go watch my girl Queenie at 10 p.m. for Unfiltered. And I might go to the club. So you know what? If you in Springfield, go to the club tonight because I might be in that bitch and you owe me a shot for my season finale. No, sir. But thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, love you guys. I will see y'all in September. Thank you for tuning in to What's the Word. Make sure you guys follow Ayana at Ayana Knows Well. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Can I talk to you? Have you ever asked yourself, do I really love my job? Because if you have, let me let you in on something. You're not the only one. Here are a few signs that you might not love your job. You dread going to work. You complain about the pay. The excitement for the job is left, and you find yourself sitting at brunch on Sunday with your mimosa, tapping your feet, singing the Monday blues. Boom! It may be time for you to move on to something else, whether it be starting a business, finding a rich husband, or finding another job. Whatever it may be, make sure you're making yourself happy and getting those bills paid. And keep rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Y'all be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter for more advice and tips. See y'all later.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Today we're going to talk about the importance of establishing an emergency fund. Now look, I know and I understand that sometimes there's just too much month and not enough money and we can't really establish an emergency fund, but statistically, 8 out of 10 adults do not have enough money to cover a $500 emergency saved up in a savings account. Now, how do we establish an emergency fund? First, we have to understand what our purpose is and why we're establishing this fund. Why should we establish an emergency fund? Because God forbid, if I have a $900 emergency come up, I don't want to have to go to the bank to take out a $900 loan. I don't want to have to go swipe a credit card for another $900 to put myself further in debt. I need to have an emergency fund established of 3 months to 6 months, okay? That will, if I lose my job, if something comes up, I have at least 3 months to 6 months of income. Ideally, if we could get 9 to 12 months saved up in an emergency fund, then you know come hell or high water that financially you will be okay if something comes up. Now, the purpose of it is that when an emergency comes up, my fund is already established. Guess what? It's no longer an emergency. We've already planned for this. And when we plan for things, we can execute the plan. We don't plan to fail, we just fail to plan. So understanding that, putting together a plan, having a fully funded emergency fund, and if you're just starting out, start with $1,000 and then build on it from there. So, this is Marcus Whitfield, and remember, knowledge isn't power, but applied knowledge is power.
What got me is like there and was like, "It's a rat in here. It's you." The acting, but you know what? I know people like that in real life.
What's the word with Kay Hicks?
We've got trivia, special guests, and whiskey.
Pour a glass of whatever you're drinking and buckle up.
What's the word?
What's the word with Kay Hicks? Watch live on YouTube, Wednesdays, 9:30, 8:30 Central on Channel 7. Believe the hype.
It's a strong indication that your partner has issues with commitment, period.
When you've got questions, she's got the answers.
We do have a caller.
But what she says might not be what you want to hear.
The solution to that is Gullah Jack. Gullah Jack tells you plain and simply to just nut the up.
Queenie Unfiltered. Watch live on YouTube and you could be invited on the show. Wednesdays at 10/9 Central on Channel 7. Believe the hype.
1, 2, 3, go!
Can I talk to you? Have you ever asked yourself, do I really love my job? Because if you have, let me let you in on something. You're not the only one. Here are a few signs that you might not love your job. You dread going to work. You complain about the pay. The excitement for the job is left, and you find yourself sitting at brunch on Sunday with your mimosa, tapping your feet, singing the Monday blues. Boom! It may be time for you to move on to something else, whether it be starting a business, finding a rich husband, or finding another job. Whatever it may be, make sure you're making yourself happy and getting those bills paid. And keep rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Y'all be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter for more advice and tips. See y'all later.
1, 2, 3, go!
Can I talk to you? Have you ever asked yourself, do I really love my job? Because if you have, let me let you in on something. You're not the only one. Here are a few signs that you might not love your job. You dread going to work. You complain about the pay. The excitement for the job is left, and you find yourself sitting at brunch on Sunday with your mimosa, tapping your feet singing the Monday blues. Boom! It may be time for you to move on to something else, whether it be starting a business, finding a rich husband, or finding another job. Whatever it may be, make sure you're making yourself happy and getting those bills paid. And keep rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Y'all be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter for more advice and tips. See y'all later.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Today we're going to talk about the importance of establishing an emergency fund. Now look, I know and I understand that sometimes there's just too much month and not enough money and we can't really establish an emergency fund, but statistically, 8 out of 10 adults do not have enough money to cover a $500 emergency saved up in a savings account. Now, how do we establish an emergency fund? First, we have to understand what our purpose is and why we're establishing this fund. Why should we establish an emergency fund? Because God forbid, if I have a $900 emergency come up, I don't want to have to go to the bank to take out a $900 loan. I don't want to have to go swipe a credit card for another $900 to put myself further in debt. I need to have an emergency fund established of 3 months to 6 months, okay? That will, if I lose my job, if something comes up, I have at least 3 months to 6 months of income. Ideally, if we could get 9 to 12 months saved up in an emergency fund, then you know come hell or high water that financially you will be okay if something establishes, if something comes up. Now, the purpose of it is that when an emergency comes up, my fund is already established. Guess what? It's no longer an emergency. We've already planned for this. And when we plan for things, we can execute the plan. We don't plan to fail, we just fail to plan. So understanding that, putting together a plan, having a fully funded emergency fund, and if you're just starting out, start with $1,000 and then build on it from there. So, this is Marcus Whitfield, and remember, knowledge isn't power, but applied knowledge is power.
What got me is like there and was like, it's a rat in here. It's you. The accent. But you know what? I know people like that in real life.
What's the word with Kay Hicks?
We've got trivia, special guests, and whiskey.
Pour a glass of whatever you're drinking and buckle up.
What's the word?
What's the word with Kay Hicks? Watch live on YouTube.
Hi, this is Queenie, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Queenie Unfiltered, where you are sure to be read for filth. However, I promise you will come out clean and pristine. We keep it real, we are honest with ourselves, and most importantly, we practice being beautifully balanced inside and out. Tonight, I have one live in studio guest, the beautiful Geneva Joy of at Geneva Joy, and the owner of Waist Love, Waist Beads, who has sponsored this entire season of Queenie Unfiltered. Okay, how long? Joining me, and I also have call-in guest. We will be discussing thruples and polyamorous relationships this evening. But before we get to that, of course, y'all know I have to give y'all midweek read. See what's in these cards, what these cosmos be talking like. I think we are halfway through Mercury getting her damn microblade, so that bitch is almost done.
I heard she on Rosha Blade.
I heard she's something. She's something, okay? So we just gonna go ahead and tap into that energy real quick with a really quick reading. Let's see. And y'all know I always do 3 cards. Is my girls out tonight? I had one of my
I should have met you though.
that my titties was distracting.
They
So
are.
I've been trying to actively cover them up. You know, and my mom will be reading if you watching this shit. All right. So I have the Wheel of Fortune. I do have the Wheel of Fortune for that in reverse.
Should I be in a white bat?
You want to be in a white card? I have the 8 of Coins that I also pulled in reverse. And I have the Page of Pentacles. Ooh. So the energy is definitely awry right now. The energy is definitely everywhere. People are probably feeling like ain't shit going right in your life right now. You know, your money funny. Joe ain't came through with the goddamn student loan forgiveness. Niggas stopped the stimulus checks and shit like that. Pockets ain't getting stimulated no more. Businesses are opening, but they ain't really opening. Outside is still fairly closed, but things are slowly but surely going back to normal. I want to say don't fret. I just want you to say don't fret. If you are having more downtime than usual, particularly as it comes to work or creating or your craft or anything like that, let me tell you something, people, and particularly Black people, rest is reparations, okay? Get your goddamn rest. I'm saying, get your rest. Do not feel bad about not being productive, okay? Get the rest that our ancestors could not get, okay? Do not feel bad about not being productive. When you are well rested and when your spirit is fed, you are able to walk in your divine purpose and things flow. So if things ain't flowing for you, it's probably because you're doing too much, okay? Just slow down. And the Page of Pentacles promises a better tomorrow, promises that new ideas, new opportunities, new means of employment or just making money will come your way, okay? So do not fret. Everything will be okay, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. And if you have a question that you want me to address, go ahead and click the link or drop it in the comment section under the video, and I will be more than happy to pull for you this evening, okay? So now to get into our hot topic, again, let me introduce the lovely Geneva Joy.
Hey, how are you?
And Mr. Jay Divine. Are you a fellow New Orleanian?
No, he's actually a fellow Philadelphian.
Oh, you from Philly? So
but
you don't eat
not
pork. Where you live? Wait, I can't hear you. Are you there, Jay?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. I can't complain.
You are handsome. Are you married?
I am married.
Oh, well, you know, you're still handsome.
Very tall, too.
Oh, Jesus.
And funny.
And funny? Oh, this is like the kryptonite. That's how you got married. You probably got, never mind. All right, Jay. We brought you guys, I brought you guys here to talk about a very specific topic. I am not going to get overexcited because, you know, last episode, we almost had an orgy up in this bitch. And I'm not going to risk that again. I'm trying to get sponsors, okay? I will not be hooking up with Kingsters. But I brought you guys here specifically to talk about the dynamics of being in a throuple or a poly relationship. I think that is 2021. It's becoming a lot more common. I'm seeing it. It's very visible on like social media and things like that. People are really like repping their poly lifestyles, and it's working. It's working for a lot of couples. So I would like to know firsthand, Mr. J, how'd you get into the poly lifestyle? What your particular dynamic is, and why, and how it works for you, or why it works for you.
Let me see. I actually knew I was polyamorous probably in my early 20s. And you know, of course, I grew up in the Southern Baptist, home, my family, whatever. And so I kind of started to, I can't even really say I was taught monogamy, but that's all I saw, you know. So no one else really gave me, I never really saw any other love style besides monogamy. So when I did start feeling polyamorous, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to go about expressing that to my mates. And so I would try to, I'm sorry.
Let me ask you a question, because you said you didn't know what it was and how to express it to your mates. So did you find yourself in a position where you were practicing infidelity?
No. Ironically, I've never really been a cheater. I can be in monogamous relationships, but I'm polyamorous. And that's the thing that people like. Polyamory, for me anyway, I don't know how how other people embrace it, but the people that I know who are truly polyamorous, it isn't about quantity. It's not about how many mates you have at any particular time. It's a knowing that at any given time you can have multiple mates.
Okay.
And so for me, that's what it's about. I've been with one person before. My current wife, when we first got together, it was just the two of us.
Okay.
So, I informed her that I was polyamorous right out the gate, and I think it was like our first date, our first little cup of coffee or whatever it was. And, she's also polyamorous. So it was almost like, oh, okay, cool. We both had, experience in polyamorous relationships. And I had fully embraced mine by the time I met her. I want to say I didn't embrace mine until I was almost 40, so about 10 years ago. And so
you're almost 50?
I'll be 50 in November.
Sir, you look goddamn good.
You should see it.
Oh, Jesus. I think I just got wet.
That's hilarious. So I didn't embrace polyamory until I was almost 40. Fully embrace. I had been in polyamorous relationships prior to that, but I didn't really own it until I was almost 40. And that was after my second marriage failed, where, I just, and it didn't fail because of infidelity or anything like that. Again, I can be with one person. For me, like I said, polyamory is just it's a knowing. It's an internal knowing that at any given time I can take on multiple loves and be okay with that. And that's something that I wasn't okay with until I started to do my research in my late 30s and then really understand what it was that I was feeling, and then found a community of other people who were already openly living it. And it was like, oh, wow, this does exist. And just for years, I never knew it existed. I had kept trying to throw myself into monogamous relationships, but tell my mates that it was okay for them to see other people if they wanted to. And, and then also tell them what I was going through, but not really knowing how to, or even not telling them, and just kind of living this little lie, if you will, because when you're not living your truth, you're living a lie, So a lot of times I wouldn't even mention it to women that I was dating. It was just, I knew that it existed with me, but I just I would get into these relationships and would never address it. But then at the end, but ultimately I would be only, lying to myself. So yeah, whatever.
I got you. I understand. So right now, I heard you mention that you and your wife are poly. So right now, do you find yourselves in a dynamic where other people are involved, or?
Yeah, we are parallel poly, meaning that we date separately. She has a mate now. She was seeing a guy for a while, and then they split, and then now she has a girlfriend. And I had a long-term girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. And we were together for about a year and a half, and we split recently. And so, yeah. So, I mean, but we date separately. We don't date together. We don't do the throuple thing. We tried. We had one woman that we both were digging, but she was feeling me way more than my wife. She was bi, but she was also feeling me way more than my wife. And the attention that, my wife didn't, she never really got the attention from her that she felt she needed in order for us to thrive as a throuple.
I got you.
So, yeah. So we ended that, and my wife didn't tell me to end it. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't like, oh, well, if we can't all be together, then none of us can be together. She actually encouraged me to still date the woman even after they didn't work out, but it just didn't feel good to me. So I left her alone as well. But, you know.
Well, that's commendable. That's admirable. Speaking of circles, would we like to go into why you're here tonight on this stage? I told Geneva I was doing this episode, and she was like, "You know, I'm in a poly relationship, right?" And I was like, "Bitch, are you? Like, is that what you're classifying it as?" Okay, so tell us about your dynamic.
Okay. You don't care about when I realized, or you gave him like a whole
okay. Tell us when you realized it, how it came about, the dynamic, you know. Bear in mind, my episodes only be 20 to 25 minutes, so, you know.
Well, for me, of course, I grew up with that, you know, wait for Prince Charming and be the bride and all that stuff like that. And my defining moment, actually, I was 17, and I got to go to Cameroon. And when I was in Cameroon, I stayed with a family who the husband had 2 wives. And I remember calling home to my mom and saying, "Oh yeah, we're here, this big house, all these kids, it's nice and fun, goats. Oh, he's got 2 wives. Okay, bye." And mind you, this is like 11 o'clock in Cameroon, which had to be like whatever in the morning in Philadelphia. My mom called the other girls' moms. And this is like they had to go get phone cards. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they had to, this is 1997.
Long distance.
They had to go to the Rite Aid that was still open, get phone cards, scratch the back, and then call back over. And it was like, get our kids out those houses. So, like, we're not thinking much of it. Thank God the people who ran the trip didn't move us out of it. But later on in that trip, I was showing him photos of my family because they had to bring photos. And I said something about, "Oh, that's not my dad. That's not my real dad. This is my dad." And he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, I don't actually know my dad." He's like, "What do you mean you don't know him? Is he okay? Did he die?" And so I had to explain that me and some of the other girls were there because we got scholarships for being from single mother homes, right? To go on this trip. And like kind of where we were from, it's the norm. And so I watched this man that my mom and them are praying to get us out of his house. He's so angry that us girls didn't know our fathers, that he had to excuse himself. So we had a whole conversation about which one we had rather. Now, me and my sister are 2 weeks apart. You know what I'm saying? So, like, as I thought about it,
twins.
Right.
Okay.
As I thought about it just over the years, like, Black America lives in a polyamorous state or a polygamous state where we don't talk about it and we don't hold the men accountable. Mm-hmm. So, like, I realized very early on, especially you dating guys and they got baby moms and stuff, I'm not fitting to fight her. I'm not fitting to have you talk about her or any of that stuff, because if things go there with us, then that's my child's sister's brother's mother. So I've always been just very peaceful about it, especially in the early forms of dating. I don't like the pretend like you're not dating other people. I actually think it's weird. Right. And I'm the one that asks, like, well, who else are you dating? And I've actually broken up with guys because they talk about the other women they're dating in a bad way. And I'm like, if you do it to her, you do it to me. Mm-hmm. So I've more been ushered into it from a community standpoint. Gotcha. And then as I've gotten older, like, it's kind of always been like open dating, and then you pair off. But like, I still find people wanting to be other places, and I'm like, I'm cool with it. So it hasn't been until recently I started dating someone who was polyamorous, and at first I thought he was lying. Guys say it now. Right. But he really is. He's younger than me, but I have so much respect for him because he handles it very well. Like, I don't really believe his girlfriend is as poly as she says she is. I think she thinks she's going to wait him out, but he handles it very well, and I have the utmost respect for him. So, like, I can definitely be in a monogamous relationship, but I like my freedom. I like honesty over everything. Mm-hmm. And I also am a kind of a unique person, and I need my time to myself. So, like, I always joke that I'm a first wife or I'm a third wife. I'm never a second. You know what I'm saying? That second wife is too much of a learning curve. Right. But like, first and third, by the time you come third, everybody know their position. I get to have my baby, mind my business. Right. See him a couple of days a week. Right. Like, that's all I want.
So third wife is just another wife at this point. It's like, okay. No, I get it. No, I think I recently, because I do a lot of introspection and self-reflection, and I had determined that if I were to enter into a polyamorous type of lifestyle, it would have to be with 2 women. But I'm not lesbian. But I trust women a lot more in these types of situations than I do guys for whatever reason. And maybe that's just some things that I have to unpack. Because, and I mean, as a woman who exclusively dates niggas, you know I say niggas on TV?
I don't.
Males. As a woman that exclusively dates males, like I found that it's always been that we have an open communication until I find out that it's not as open as I thought it was. And there's always some type of manipulation or predatory behavior behind it. So I think that I could enter into a poly relationship with two women as long as there's male accompaniment.
But you ain't gonna do that with them. Like, why not?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that a lot of misconception in regards to polyamorous relationships is also the physical side, where you can be in a polyamorous relationship. I mean, I actually have a mate that I've, been with, if you will, for several years, and it's platonic. You know what I mean? Like, she's not, I don't even know at this point whether I would even want to, and I think I was telling Geneva about this. I think we were having this conversation a while back. Like I said, we've been together for a while, but it's platonic. You know what I mean? Like we talk all the time. We, she's my muse, if you will, when it comes to writing and we spend a lot of time. There's a piano behind me in case you guys didn't know, but
multi-talented.
We spend a lot of time, playing music, where she'll FaceTime me and we'll sit down and we'll go through chords and stuff. And I'll, she's a singer, so I'll play and she sings, whatever. And again, I have no desire to be with her. So I think that's another, thing to unpack with polyamorous relationships for people who don't know. For people who don't know about polyamory, the first thing they think is it's a big fucking orgy and we all out here just, and it's not that, but yeah, and Geneva said something else and I can't even remember what she said, but she hit something. She said something and it made me kind of
community aspect. Or the fact that we kind of already live like that without the honesty?
That part, yeah. And I always try to explain to people, like, we, Black people especially, we have this desire, and it's not just polyamory, it's just how we live, where we always want to try to protect the family. We always want to try to save face, if you will, where we know our grandfathers and our fathers were out there. My grandfather, Geneva was saying that she has a sister who is 2 weeks, her junior or whatever. Yeah. My mother has a sister who was born the day after she was.
Oh yeah.
And they met in the 12th. I mean, they met at 12 years old. They met in the 7th grade at school, and people were going around the school going, "Oh my gosh, there's a little girl who looks just like you. There's another little girl that looks just like you." And then they brought them together and found out that, my grandfather was, the father to both of them. And so again, and then of course, and the mothers already knew, obviously, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a secret. It wasn't a secret to anybody in the family. It's just that there's so many of us that live polyamorously, but, we live it in the shroud of being, project sisters and Papa was a Rolling Stone or whatever that looks like.
Shame. And
I feel dysfunction. Like there you go.
When you put it out there, it makes space for it's just all love. It's all love. So whenever you give love more energy and light, greatness comes from it. Like I have this one friend, I believe she has
go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
She has like 20 brothers and sisters. And the moms figured out really early that he wasn't gonna stop. So instead of bickering or separating, like every time a new one came in, they got him in the fold. So like when you meet her brothers and sisters, you would think they all grew up in one household. When she got married and had 20 people in her wedding to accommodate everybody, her dad was right there praying the future or whatever. It's because the mothers worked together. So not everybody is trying to be on that like village tip, but like none of them feel deprived. Some of the mothers went off and married other people. But like, especially when you start bringing kids in the mix, I think Black America should open up to the idea, but just for what, like, how much love can you can always have more love.
I think both of you have a point, and I think polyamory in its purest, most natural form, without all the duplicity, the maliciousness and salaciousness and things like that,
can
If it's done right.
absolutely be beautiful, but I also think that it can be so patriarchal leaning that women won't find a benefit in it.
Yeah.
You know, something like, and I'll go back to your statement earlier when you said that, you know, you are in a poly relationship with this guy, but you don't think that his girlfriend is as poly as he is, or she thinks she is. She's just trying to wait him out. In this instance, it's not really benefiting her. She's performing as a poly. She's performing in a poly type of relationship because she wants to please him.
Yeah, but
Well, can I address?
Ways.
Can I address this real quick?
Yes.
When it's done right, polyamory is, you know, which goes the same way for monogamy. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't knock monogamy. People tend to think that, you know, being polyamorous means that I don't agree with monogamy, and I don't have anything against monogamy. Again, I've been monogamous before. I know what a monogamous relationship looks like. Polyamory, and you said something about it being patriarchal to a certain extent, but that's when you start getting into polygamy and other forms of. I'm talking about polyamory in its purest form, just the love. I'm not talking about marrying, because I only need one wife. My wife is all the wife I need. I'm not looking to have 2 wives or 3 wives or whatever. So I'm talking about multiple loves. So just in multiple loves, that's totally different from, you know, whatever. And then as far as it being patriarchal, whatever, you were talking about the young lady, that's a choice that she made. You know what I'm saying? Like, I give everybody that choice. The minute you meet me, you're going to know 2 things. If you're trying to get at me in that manner, or I'm trying to get at you in that manner, you're going to know 2 things. I'm polyamorous and I'm married. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. From there, you can make your decision as to whether or not you even want to pursue me in that manner. And then we go through the vetting process of finding out where you are with, you know, polyamory in general, whatever. But the first 2 things you're going to know is that I'm married and that I'm polyamorous. And and from there, you get to make the choice that you need to make. It's not on me. And I'm not trying to convert anybody.
Right.
You know, my last girlfriend was monogamous, you know, and so, but she, you know, she signed on for what I had to offer, you know, and I was upfront about it, whatever. And we had a great relationship until we didn't, you know. So, I mean, you know, and I honestly, my wife is the first polyamorous person I've ever dated. Most of the women that I date are monogamous, and that's not by choice. I don't go out seeking monogamous women.
Right.
It's just that they accept
the conditions in which we were raised.
Exactly. And they accept me for what I am, and I accept them for what they are. But I don't, you know, my wife is the first polyamorous woman that I had ever dated in all the years that I had, you know, fully embraced my polyamory. But I just wanted to say that, you know, that's it.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think that this was an amazing conversation. I thank both you, Mr. J, and Geneva for joining me. I think that there's definitely much more to be discussed, and hopefully I can have you guys on at a later date so we can kind of expound upon poly relationships, because I think it's very, very interesting. I can definitely see the emotional and spiritual benefits of polyamory, really and truly. Yeah. I mean, I would even consider myself, and a lot of people find this hard to believe about me, but I operate in monogamous spaces, but I don't care if my partner has sex with other people. Like, and that's just me. Like, as long as you're honest about it, as long as you're not removing anything from this household, as long as, you know, we are in complete accordance and agreement, there's no lies, manipulation going, I think that it's absolutely beautiful. But that's a different topic for a different day. Somebody has been reading these text messages. I just know.
You're getting compliments, Jay.
I'm going to wrap it up.
Hilarious.
I usually do my check yourself segment, but we ran over on time, so we are not going to do the check yourself segment today.
Oh, she said she.
So we are. Yeah, you're supposed to ignore her. We're not going to do our check yourself segment today. I want to thank you guys for joining me. Thank my listeners for tuning in. I will not see you next week, but I will see you for our season finale on the week after next. Is that the 20th? I don't know.
It'll be something.
I think that is the 20th. But I will definitely see you for our season finale the week after next.
Special.
Thank you all for joining me this evening, and you all have a blessed day.
What you forgot? You forgot.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Since Geneva has sponsored this entire season of Queenie Unfiltered, We are having a special on her waist beads. I can't see it. We're having a special on her waist beads.
If you go to @WaistLove on Instagram, I am the original. No double dots, no E's, none of that bull. @WaistLove on Instagram. You'll find the link to our website or to book a private appointment. You get 15% off plus free shipping if you use promo code Queenie.
That's love.
I'm gonna let that ride for I think I'm gonna let it ride for like a week or so. So get it. Promo code Queenie on our website. You can get our website link and all the information if you follow us on Instagram @WaistLove. And you showed your features.
Well, I don't feel like standing up.
It's all right. But I have the best, finest, and most authentic West African waist beads in the entire Gulf South. No one does it better. Come get you some love.
Yes. Yes.
You see how I tied that in?
Yes. Yes.
Everybody get yourself.
Good. Oh my God. Good night, everyone. Good night.
Thank y'all for having me.
We are signing
Appreciate it.
out.